As president and CEO, Lynn fosters the relationships she has cultivated abroad over the past decade. Her rapport with tourism professionals around the world, particularly in the emerging markets of Japan and China, is resulting in a growing interest in Greater Portland, both nationally and internationally. Lynn is the executive committee member of the Maine Sports Commission, the Maine Motor Coach Network, and Cruise Portland, Maine. Lynn is also the regional representative for the Maine Office of Tourism's Regional Advisory Committee and currently sits on the Mayor's Economic Development Work Plan Committee, the Growing Portland Marine Economy Work Group, Portland's Economic Scorecard Committee, and the Sustainable Airport Master Plan Advisory Committee. How do you keep that all straight? Beyond all this, Lynn is also on the USM Hospitality Advisory Board of Directors, and my favorite is on the Board of Directors for the Portland Community Chamber of Commerce. Lynn and her family embrace Greater Portland and all that Maine has as a year-round destination, enjoying hiking, skiing, and dining out together. Please join me in welcoming Lynn Tillotson.
A bottle of water on stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First, I'd like to see if I could have a show of hands. How many are here that are hospitality businesses? Okay, keep your hands up. How many people here have clients that are hospitality businesses? Okay, how many people know somebody who works in the hospitality industry? Family, relative, acquaintance? Okay, these lights are bright. I think we're pretty much almost at 100%. It's the reason why tourism is so important in this state. It really affects our economy significantly. So let's take a look at some numbers. So if we look at Maine as a whole, we have 33 million visitors that visit the state of Maine in 2014. That was an increase of 10.4% over 2013. Direct tourism spending for the state is $5.4 billion, generating $533 million in tax revenues. Again, an increase of 5.4% over 2013. Those are some really significant numbers. It equates for 94,000 jobs and 14% of the employment. Household income generates $2 billion. If we look at our region amongst all the other regions, you can see that Maine Beaches surpasses us a bit. That involves anywhere from York up to Old Orchard Beach. And then you hit Greater Portland. The good thing is that we're number 2. 5.6 million visitors visit us for the year. Now keep in mind, these numbers are done through the Maine Office of Tourism and Davidson Peterson Associates. And the question is, what was your primary destination? So these numbers are primary destination numbers. So that doesn't account for how many people are in the beaches area. Maybe they're going up into Mid-Coast or Bar Harbor, and they come here for dinner. They do a little day of shopping and lunch. So those numbers are pretty conservative, but overall, pretty well. Now there's some good and bad to this. You'll notice that our day visitation is down by 8.7%. I've had a lot of conversations with the Office of Tourism about this, saying, what do you think's going on? We were the only region to drop in day visitation. And the common question is, it's difficult to come here and park for the day, which is really interesting. And I think it's something that we have to look at as a community. How do we make this more welcoming to visitors? I know Steve Hewins has that conversation a lot. He really looks at that. It's important, especially if you're seeing an 8.7% drop. However, overnight visitation is up by 1.7%. So that's a good thing. So overall, it flushed out to be about -4% down over 2013. But then you'll notice the next line, spending is up by 4%. So we might be down, but they're spending more money, which equates to $748 million to our region. I got some information from the Maine Innkeepers Association, Maine Restaurant Association, that I thought would be interesting to share. Lodging in the US is up 9.3%. Maine is up 5.7%. Portland up 22% for lodging. So that's really, really good. US restaurants up to $7.9 billion. Maine is up 4.4%, and Portland up 13%. So the lodging businesses in the room and the restaurants are doing very well. Those totals are for Maine overall. And you can see meals significantly surpass lodging in revenues. I get a lot of tourism newsletters, and they talk about trends and what's happening, what does the forecast look like? And I did a lot of digging before I came here to find out what does 2015 look like. And everything has been pretty consistent, so I chose this one little piece to show you. Everyone is indicating that it's going to be a very good summer. People are going to be traveling. I think it doesn't hurt that we had a really cold winter, and everyone's getting ready and they want to get out and visit. So I think we're going to have a good season. So how does this happen? How do we get all of these visitors here? Do they, why did they choose Maine? Why did they choose Greater Portland? So we at the CVB have a little saying. We do what most people think just happens. Everyone just sort of thinks, oh, so we've got this great city, we've got this great state, they'll just show up. That's not quite true. Not quite true. Think about how many choices you have for your vacation. You start thinking about going on vacation, you've got hundreds, thousands of choices for vacation. What makes you think of something that comes to the top of your mind? Is it the Pure Michigan ad that you just saw on TV? Those Michigan ads really make you think about summers in Michigan. Or the California ad that you just saw on TV. Or you're flipping through a magazine and you come across Bora Bora or the Bahamas. You have to be out there. You have to be out there marketing. So our job is to market Maine, market the Greater Portland region, to keep visitors, have Maine on the top of their minds. So I'll just talk about how we do that. We have 8 markets that we focus on, and I'll brush through them really quickly. The leisure traveler, it's our largest market. We market with the Office of Tourism very, very closely. That's their primary target audience. And we go to consumer shows with them. We piggyback on marketing efforts that they do. So that's one of the things. And we focus on some of our key areas: Boston, New York, DC, Philadelphia, Canada. The convention and events, it's a $280 billion industry for the United States. Unfortunately, Maine only gets about 1% of that share, but it's a very significant share. Because if you think about, especially a hotel, this place, for instance, they get one conference. That's a huge amount of revenue compared to how many individual travelers would they have to fill those hotel rooms. So it's really important to focus on the convention market. The motor coach industry, $1.9 billion into Maine's economy. And it's still a growing industry. Our numbers haven't stopped. People are still really interested, and everyone thinks that it's an older demographic, but that's changing a little bit. Now there's a lot of people, maybe it's grandparents traveling with their grandchildren, or generational traveling. It's still really viable industry. The international market, 1.73 million visitors come to New England. Now when I say New England, it's because for the international market, we work together, all 6 states, to market New England. Most people from overseas won't just think of, oh, I'm going to just go to Maine. They want to see all 6 New England states. So collaboratively, we work together to reach out to UK, Germany, France, Ireland, Italy, Japan, China. Did I say UK? I think maybe I forgot one somewhere, but those are the markets that we focus in on that area. Destination weddings, that's been recession-proof. People who are in love still want to get married. You can't tell them no. So, and 1 out of 4 weddings do a destination wedding. $20 billion for the US industry. Cruise ships, last year we did, with the cruise consortium that we're all a part of, last year we did an economic study for the Greater Portland area, and with a conservative 56% disembarkation rate, it creates $6 million for the Portland economy. So that was pretty significant. Sporting events. We work with the Maine Sports Commission. I see Rob is with us from the Maine Sports Commission. And collaboratively, we work together to market the area for the sporting events. Last year, we secured 8 events. Most of you know Tough Mudder. That was probably the most prominent one. $14 million economic impact. And media. Media is incredibly important. When you think of, we get a lot of phone calls from travel writers, media, press, the Today Show. They're talking about the summer's economic options for traveling for the summer. They'll ask us for B-roll. All of those requests that go through our office resulted in over 150 articles, which is a huge revenue source. If we had to pay for that amount of space in magazines, we just wouldn't be able to afford it. So this is how we do it. Now, this is a crazy slide, but basically, we get out on the road. We are represented, we either attend or are represented at over 30 different travel shows. Whether it's the consumer shows, it's motor coach shows, international shows, meetings and conferences, sporting events, wedding shows. You have to be out there. You have to constantly be at the top of mind. The tourism industry can be a little finicky. There's so much competition out there that if you're not there and they're not thinking of you right away, and Maine's not there, but maybe New Hampshire is, well, where are they gonna go? They're gonna choose New Hampshire. So we have to constantly be out there. So we partner a lot with the Maine Office of Tourism, as well as do some things on our own. At those shows, we push our regional guides. We've got a visitor's guide that's 180,000 in distribution. It's, of course, in all the information centers. It's in all of the hotels. Anybody can have visitor guides if you need any. It's up and down the 95 corridor, 495 corridor, and it's at all the shows. The event planner's guide is a 5,000 distribution. However, it's a niche publication. That's going to 5,000 qualified planners. So that's a pretty good number, actually. And the Destination Wedding Lore brochure goes with us to all of the shows. VisitPortland.com. You're actually getting a sneak peek of our new website, which won't be done for several months. It's a big project. But it's going to be very interest-based. When people are navigating, they're going to look at what's important to them. As a consumer and you go on vacation, you want to do something that really talks to you. You know, if you don't like sushi, you're not going to go to a sushi restaurant. So you choose what you want based on your interests, and that's with activities, types of lodging, dining out, all of that. So we have 350,000 unique users at this point, 1.8 million page views, and you can see the states that visit our website in the top, right in order. Of course, Maine, because we still are the largest city and state. A lot of people still do vacations or staycations here. Massachusetts, New York, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New Jersey. Those are all the ones that we really focus with the Maine Office of Tourism. So it's not surprising that that is one of our top states. But what we've also found very consistently is California, Texas, and Florida. Year after year, those still keep popping up, and the Maine Office of Tourism is seeing the same thing. And I think it's just people want to maybe get out of the heat and come to Maine, get some nice cooler summers, and we're doing some focused target marketing for Facebook advertising in those states as well. Top countries in order: US, Canada, UK, Germany, Brazil, France, Australia, Italy, South Korea, and the Netherlands. Again, some of those are the ones that we focus on. Print advertising. Print is not dead. It really isn't dead. We still will work with some niche magazines. Food and Travel did a great piece about coastal cuisine. Small meetings, yeah, I can't say that one right now. We focus on that market because we have small space here. We don't have a large convention center. So that's a very niche market for us. So we're going to spend our time when we market for conventions in the small meetings market, in the luxury markets, in the incentive markets. We partnered with Nova Star and, of course, Down East Magazine and Maine Invite You. As the year goes on, we're constantly doing an outreach. We want to keep them always on top of mind. So we send out several newsletters a week. We've got 30,000 who have subscribed, and we let them know what's coming in the next season. So again, hopefully to entice them to come, especially if maybe they're in our drive market. They may look at an event coming up, the Old Port Festival, we've just done that, and say, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna go up to Maine this weekend. Our social media, everyone reaches out through social media. This has been growing for us. We've been focusing on it. Our 72% female, 25 to 54 in age. And you'll notice I threw out the geographic audience here because I think it's important to look at that, is there are some in-state representation, which that's probably members and different community people who are following us. But what's more important is what's not in-state. Chicago, #2, Houston, Boston, Los Angeles, Dallas, New York City, Orlando, Miami, Austin, Louisville. Those are the ones we want to reach. Those are the ones that I care about are following our Facebook page. And that's the message that we always have to talk to you about. So if people are watching our Facebook page, you can be just Big Brother watching us market our destination. And we also have some European countries, Middle East, Latin America. So once we've done all of this work, and that's a really fast snapshot of what we do. When I do a larger presentation, I break it down and really tell you what we do for each market very specifically. But once we do all of this outreach and get people to come here, it is our job to greet them, make them happy, and show them a good time. We have 2 information centers. One is at the Visitor Information Center at Ocean Gateway, and the other one is at the Portland Jetport. We also have some brochure racks at the main mall and the transportation center. So last year, the 179,000 visitor assists, those are actually one-on-one conversations. We don't keep track of exactly how many people walk through the door. So those are a lot of conversations. That is a lot of actual help. And that is all done by 1,522 volunteer hours. Our volunteers are amazing. We couldn't do it without them. They're super loyal and spend a lot of time and passion helping people in this area. So speaking about customer service, how many times have you gone to some place and you get really bad customer service? You don't want to go back, right? It's proven that when you go someplace and they're welcoming and they go above and beyond, that you'll talk about it, you'll come back. So we started a program called the GEM Award. It's going the extra mile. And throughout all of our membership, we're encouraging people to nominate their staff, nominate people who have gone the extra mile, done that little extra. And so we had 7 nominations last year, so hopefully that will grow this year. But all of these people were really amazing and had some great stories. The winner was Ame from the Hyatt, and he was so ecstatic. We gave him an award at our annual meeting, and Bob Smith is with Sabasco that he's photographed here, and he gave him an overnight for a vacation getaway. So we're encouraging people to really take the tourism, the hospitality spirit, and just go even further. So I mentioned conferences and events, and I'm going to bring it back up because it's really important. We offer a free service. And most people don't know that. If you are planning a family reunion, or you have a conference that you want to bring here, or that you're involved with, our office does that at no charge. You can call us and we'll help you find the location, get your venue set up, and help you with logistics. Alyssa and Holly are over there, and you can just raise your hands. They're our convention sales staff, and they work really hard to place business here. So because of that, we started a new program called Bring Yours Home. And we partner actually with WCSH 6, and they've helped us with some commercials. We do main biz, online and print advertising. We've got some displays at the Jetport, and we've done several videos that you see Sally here that are on Channel 6 talking about the importance of meetings in Maine. And the premise is that if you're going out of town for a meeting or a conference, just call us. Tell us where you're going. How many people here travel outside of the state for a conference? Oh my gosh, call us. Tell us where you're going. You know, is the conference you're going to a good size? Would it fit in Maine? Just tell us where you're going. We'll reach out to them. We'll see if we can convince them to come here. So it's sort of a grassroots campaign, but absolutely, let us know. The other initiative we started 8 years ago now was Harvest on the Harbor, our food and wine festival. We started this, and I mention this because it's more than a food and wine festival. We started this 8 years ago because the culinary world of Portland was really emerging. In 2009, it was when Bon Appetit called us the foodiest small town in America. So in 2008, we thought, you know, let's celebrate this. Let's create an event. Let's do something that really gets people to come here and experience what we have to offer. So the date this year is October 21 to 25th. You'll notice that it's late in October, and it's late in October every year because we specifically chose that in order to continue the tourism season. It used to roll up. Columbus Day came around. Everyone would sort of shut down their doors, put away their tour companies, and done. So that's why we chose it, and it's been successful. Now we find that people have a hard time finding rooms during Harvest on the Harbor, which is exciting, but it'll just expand people's reach. 4,000 people over 4 days, 5 countries. Got tickets last year, 38 states. That's the mission. That's why we do this, is to really get people to come here, experience it, love it, want to come back. And many times we have conversations with people who are coming from out of state saying, oh my, we had no idea, this is so amazing. We're foodies and we just follow food festivals. We're absolutely coming back. So that's the reason why I wanted to mention this. Now, just to wrap up here, I've mentioned collaborations a lot. I've mentioned the Maine Sports Commission, which started about 3 years ago, collaboratively with all of the regions of Maine, pooling money together to start the Maine Sports Commission. Cruise Portland, Maine, started in about 2006, if I remember correctly. And it's the chamber, it's the city of Portland, it's Kennebunkport Chamber, it's Freeport USA, and us, and PDD, all again, pooling money together to fund marketing cruise ships. In the center, Maine, that's the Maine Office of Tourism. There, the Office of Tourism is based out of Augusta. They are the marketing arm for Maine. And we partner we're side by side with them. We work with them very, very closely. I mentioned Discover New England. Discover New England is the 6 states, again, pooling money together to focus on the international market as New England. The Maine Motor Coach Network started a few years ago where we realized that if a motor coach is coming they're not going to come just to Portland. They're going to go and they're going to tour the entire state. So we started working together with businesses who want the motor coach industry, and together we work we're up to our 4th FAM tour. A FAM tour is a familiarization tour where we invite 20, 30 different tour operators to come. We tour them all over the state. It doesn't cost them anything, and we show them what there is to offer for them to bring their tour here. So we have to work with these collaborations, and we have to work with them because our budgets are really low. Maine Office of Tourism budget, number 30 out of 50 states. They have a $9 million budget. Hawaii is $75 million. Florida, I think I read, was $56 million. California just grew to over $100 million. I have a whole sliding scale that I could share with you, but budgets are huge. So that means that there's even that much more competition out there, and we have to work together in order to bring tourism here. Most CVBs are funded by a portion of meals and lodging taxes. And we all know in Maine that we don't have that. Our tax for lodging is 8%. But if you look at it, our competition is everybody out there. But there's St. Louis is 18, Anaheim and Houston 17, Chicago, Atlanta, Seattle 16. If you look down a little further, our direct competition, Boston, 14.5%, the state of Connecticut 15, state of Rhode Island 13, and state of New Hampshire 9. So it makes us realize that we don't have those kinds of budgets to come back to us, that we have to work together. So our CVB is 100% membership funded. So if there's any members, how many members are in the room? Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Truly, I really want to say that from the bottom of my heart, because it really is, it's a community. It's everyone working together. It's, you know, it's Ed, it's your funds, and David, your funds, and Jason, your funds, and it's everybody coming together that we can take that and market this destination. So every little bit helps, and I really, really appreciate it. It's one industry and one purpose making a difference in our economy. And I think Steve Hewen said it best, and I use this line all the time, and I always say that. Think about our community. Think about what we have here, all the hotels that we have, the amazing amount of restaurants, the attractions, the art galleries, the fabulous boutique shops and the coffee shops, and all of this. Do you think that 65,000 people who live here could sustain that? There's no way. There's no way. So it's tourism that brings us the community that we have, and we have to continue to grow it. We have to continue to support it and embrace it and welcome it so we can all enjoy it ourselves. I just want to point out our staff. If you can just stand. These folks are amazing, amazing, and very, very dedicated, and from the bottom of our hearts, we really, really thank you. That was it. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Lynn. Over here.
Oh, there you are.
Ed Susslovic, Portland City Councilor.
Sorry, these are bright.
My question to you is, what I hear from tourists, whenever I see someone with a map downtown, I always say, can I help you? I want to get one of those GEM awards.
Yeah, you should.
And what I hear is more public bathrooms, less panhandlers. That's what I consistently hear from tourists. You've added in your opening comments, we need to be looking at parking for tourists, for day tourists. If you were mayor for a day, what would you have the city of Portland do, City Hall, to promote tourism? Because when I was up in Charlottetown, and a third our size, I was blown away with what the city of Charlottetown was doing in concert with their equivalent of what you're doing.
You nailed it. Absolutely. More bathrooms. We get that a lot. Our visitor information center is located at Ocean Gateway, has wonderful clean bathrooms, but it's a little bit of a ways. The other ones are in parking garages. We absolutely need more bathrooms. The panhandlers are an issue. It really is. And it's sad to say that, but it's true. I was with some folks not too long ago. We were looking at convention space, and we were walking from Commercial, stopping at different places. As we walked up towards Congress Street, they didn't feel comfortable anymore, and they wanted to turn around. And it's a conversation that PGD and I have had is, why don't tourists come to Congress Street more often? And it's just because, we're familiar. We embrace our town, our community. We know that it's a safe community. But when you're in a strange place, you don't know that. And so when you feel a little uncomfortable, it makes a difference. And we get a lot of comments about the panhandlers.
Lynn, Jerry Anger, yeah,
Hi,
you got the
Jerry.
right microphone. You touched on it, and I'm going to bring it up again because this is a large organization that's been diligently, quietly working to bring a convention center to Portland. Do you see anything in your catbird seat that says maybe we will have a convention center?
It is my great hope. Absolutely. We've got a lot of hotels, and we have a down season. And maybe people might think that conventions won't come here in the middle of the winter. I think they will. I think they will. People are looking for value these days. There's also local sports. I'm a mom of a gymnast. Do you know how many convention centers I've been in New England for a meet, and I spend money in their hotels, and I spend money in their restaurants, and so I think that there's absolutely a need for it. Absolutely a need for it. And where there is a quiet group of people trying to make that happen. But it also has to be the right location. For meeting planners, they'll really look at location and how does it work for them? Is it easy to move in and move out of? You know, where are the hotels in surrounding it?
Jamie Willie, Canteen Service, and I'm a Portland resident. Following the thought that there's an app for that, parking, if it's as big an issue as you suggest, to me, is there a way to automate this? Maybe have the downtown district be a clearinghouse. On your homepage, if you had a parking tab with a link, you can order a cab now at the drop of a hat. What is it, Uber, right? But I don't even know if there are apps for parking spaces, so to speak. But to me, some creative application that way. Because I walk around, I see a lot of parking spaces, and it's only a short walk to the downtown.
That's a great idea. And I know we're working on a new website. I mentioned that. I know Steve with PDD is also working on a new website. So we could get together to collaborate. How are we going to get the message out a little bit better? I know Unified Parking is out there. They're growing. How to get their message across. We'll work on it. And that was a common comment that I received about why is our daytime visitation down? Is it really that? I don't know, but it was interesting that I heard that comment from many people.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. That was really wonderful, a lot of great information. My name is Mark Basir. I'm the director at the Portland Museum of Art. And I noticed in your segments, art and culture doesn't really seem to be one of them, when it is one of the driving forces in tourism today is cultural tourism. And even at the museum right now, we have an exhibition called Maine Art Museum Trail, which is us, Agunquit, Colby, Bates, Bowdoin, Monhegan, and Farnsworth. But we always seem to be the last folks at the table, but all the statistics tell us that art and culture are the leading reasons why people make choices. And I don't mean just art, visual art. Culture to me is food, it's organic farming, it's all of that. And I think that's a growing segment. So I wonder how you could address that, all those great partnerships you have up there. We've been at it for about 12 years in the Maine Art Museum Trail, and we don't even rate.
And actually, those are the markets that we reach out to, but your message is given to all of those markets. Absolutely. We work really closely with Abby Levin. If anybody knows Abby,
yes.
Abby's with the Maine Office of Tourism. She's their cultural representative. And Abby and I work very, very closely together to figure out, okay, when we're talking about to a motor coach industry, here are all the different things that you can do. You know, what works for the motor coach industry for the cultural side of things, or for the meetings, you know, what could they do for spousal events or things like that. So your message is definitely out there as far as the culture that's
right.
in here. And we're working through the Mayor's Economic Development Work Plan, if I said that long. That's one of our line items, is promoting cultural heritage tourism. And we're working with Rachel Talbot Ross and Abby and myself to figure out what do we have that's ready to promote, and what do we have that's just sort of on the wings that maybe just enough, like we can build that up to also promote that as well. So we're focusing on that.
Great, thank you. We're actually, Abby Levine's very close to the museum, and we're
She
also
is.
working with Stacy, who works at USM, and also, you know, the folks at MIGAS. We're actually doing our own private, not private, it's very public, actually symposium called Beyond Lobster, the new brand of Maine at the museum on third Thursday. Because we do think we need to really claim that space and make it strong. One last question, I don't want to hog the mic. One pet peeve that a lot of folks we talk to coming in and out of Maine has to do with the York toll booth. The worst experience is that people drive into Maine, we stop them at the border, they can't get in, and then when they leave, we stop them again. And I think a lot of us in the business, there's some very practical things that could drive more people having a better experience entering Maine. And this is not just Portland, this is throughout the state. That experience is absolutely intolerable. The amount of studies, the amount of time we spent on this, if we could just get people in the state happy and let them leave Sunday night, not in a traffic jam, so they'll come back, it would be great. So any help you can do with that, we'd appreciate.
Whoa. My name's Ralph Carmona. I'm an adjunct professor at Southern Maine Community College, and I want to get back to the day visit issue because you say parking's the biggest concern that's been expressed, but as you know, there's a real countervailing climate in terms of policy, in terms of politics here in the city, that there's a declining car culture. And oftentimes it's in the marketplace too, where developers are saying, but parking is going to be driven by the market. And then there's an activist culture that says, you know, the cars are no value. People like to walk up Mungo Hill, walk up everywhere, and there's not going to be a problem with parking, and we need less of it. So how do you see that being resolved going forward in the future? Because that's a major trend, and it's in conflict with what the problem is that you just described.
It's a fine line. It's a touchy subject because if you think about our residents, well, our residents may enjoy spending time walking and biking and don't need as many cars, but you know, what is our percentage of tourism that comes in? And if we make it even more unfriendly for them to come in, that number will continue to go down. It absolutely will, because there's too many other options, even in this own great state, not even just choosing another state. In this own state, there are many options. So we have to be very cautious. I think that, you know, in city politics, when people are making their decisions, it can't be just about residents. This city relies on tourism. It absolutely relies on tourism, and that's my feeling anyway. And I think that when we are making decisions, we have to think about, okay, this is how it's going to affect the residents, but now how's it going to affect tourism? Let's really think about it.
Yeah. Lynn, I'm over here. So I'm Steve Hewins from Portland Downtown District. Lynn was kind enough to mention me a couple of times here, so I thought I'd respond to a couple of things regarding issues like parking and panhandling and issues that relate to the downtown. We do collaborate a lot. Lynn and I are frequently together on issues, as well as Chris Hall. I think the Chamber, the CVB, and Portland Downtown District come together a lot on these issues. And we, too, have just developed a 5-year plan that's heavily focused on the visitor industry because for PDD, we're not necessarily out to Tokyo and Japan like Lynn, but we're interested in Buxton and Gorham, Falmouth. You know, bringing visitors downtown is very important to this city. And it, frankly, is, I think, the future of Portland. I'm sensitive to what Ralph Carmona said about residents, which is very important, but residents don't get to enjoy 157 restaurants in Portland Downtown District without the hundreds of thousands we draw here annually, and including all of us, many of us workers that work downtown that aren't fortunate enough to live here, but work here as well. So the economy, as she speaks to with the numbers, is going to be dependent on tourism. I think convention center is something we are working on, and citing that is going to be a challenge as well. But I did want to make one specific comment about parking. It is also the biggest issue that our constituents bring forward. And my constituents tend to be property owners and businesses that operate downtown. And I guess I would say we have a subcommittee working on that right now. I think one of the gentlemen before me talked about apps. We are looking at technical solutions that involve not only apps to find parking spaces on the street, but also a common methodology for parking garages so that visitors and businesses can provide special shopping discounts, parking discounts for shoppers that will be utilized in all the parking garages versus the antiquated programs that we have now. So I did want to just add a little bit of depth to what Lynn, and I didn't want to leave her up there answering these questions herself because it's a collaborative effort involved in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter Mills from the Maine Turnpike Authority.
I was wondering if you were in the room. I was wondering if you were here.
Yeah, oh yeah. I never miss these meetings. I never know what I'm going to be taking in vain. I turned 72 years old a week or two ago, and the top item on my bucket list is to build a new toll plaza in York. I might also observe that the top year of traffic on the Maine Turnpike was 2007. Our traffic year-to-date in all classes, in commercial as well as car traffic, is ahead of 2007 by a lot. This will be the largest traffic year on the Maine Turnpike in its history. The economy's coming. It isn't because of our accommodating toll facilities either. But we have a statewide strategic problem, and that is many of the people visiting our state when the weather is like it is today want an appointment to cross the high-level bridge into New Hampshire at 3:30 in the afternoon so they can get the kids to bed in Boston so they can get a good night's sleep before school on Monday. The bridge can't handle it. New Hampshire's road system can't handle it. The toll plaza in Hampton can't handle it. We can't handle it. They're backed up all the way to Wells. It is a pattern all summer, right up until Columbus Day. We need a strategy somehow to get these people to stay over till Monday morning. We cannot afford to build another high-level bridge to accommodate them. It's $1 billion to build one of those suckers today. So I mean, we have one way in, one way out. We're a lot like Cape Cod, and that's a huge strategic problem that we need to address for the benefit of our tourism industry and commerce in general. But it is a Sunday afternoon problem by and large. Usually people are filtering into the state Friday night, Saturday morning. Yes, it's a pain to pay the toll, but by and large, they're getting in okay. It's getting out that's the problem, and it is a late Sunday afternoon phenomenon. And it's gotten so bad on the big weekends that we put Miles the Moose down there with his costume on, and we give them free tokens or something to read on the way out because they're parked, not just waiting for the toll, but waiting to get out of Maine. It's a huge, huge transportation challenge.
I think it's a message that we have to send industry-wide to educate people, their guests. I know if I have family coming in, I tell them when to travel. Like, you need to be here by this time, and you're not leaving until here. And I think it's a message that we have to work with the Maine Office of Tourism as well to say, how can we, if you're a campground owner, tell your guests when they should leave, or at least warn them. You're going to hit traffic. We suggest you leave at this time.
We have about 6 million people a year that get out of their cars at Kennebunk North and Kennebunk South. In retrospect, those should have been built as welcome centers to the state of Maine. They were not. If anybody has any suggestions about things we could do to accommodate, it cannot be done for a specific business, but it can be done for an industry like Welcome to Maine's lobster industry or some such thing. I'm happy to accommodate them as best we can. I have a tenant in there, but they have been cooperative.
Okay. Last question.
Rick Snow, Maine Indoor Karting.
Hi, Rick.
Hi. Real quick, something that just popped up about 3 weeks ago, and it's starting to really foster some issues that are concerning to me, and that is we heard this morning on the radio a talk about an increasing crime issue. And we had planned and are planning to do a wonderful event with the Sea Dogs, involved vintage cars and antique cars, and I've already had 3 people cancel out of that because of the huge publicity on what happened a few weeks ago, along with some muggings. So talking about the murder that occurred, and hopefully we'll have as much publicity about solving that case because we know our crime rate as individuals here is very, very low. But as we're advertising this and as the crime is starting to inch up a little bit, it is disconcerting to people who are coming from away. And I keep trying to say, oh, no, Portland's very safe. You don't need to worry about it. But as you mentioned with your walk with the group, so as we think about this as tourism people, we need to really think about how we can kind of balance that out. So
I'm right there with you. I get all the press releases from the police department, and it concerns me. It really concerns me. I don't know what's been happening, but we seem to have had a bit of a surge in some violence. And I know when we just hosted Discover New England's annual conference. We had 100 international tour operators here from all of those countries I mentioned, and an additional 350 people who were in town from all over New England who want to promote New England. So 450 people, we were here at this hotel, Overflow was at the Westin, and I reached out to Michael. I can never pronounce his last name. Shawshot. Michael S. And so I reached out to him and said, please help me. I need extra police presence. I need somebody. The international market especially needs to feel safe. After 9/11, it's a very big thing for them. They need to feel safe. And so they did a great job We did reach out to them. I saw extra police presence, but it is truly sad that we are dealing with this right now. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, Lynn. Thank you very much for sharing so many of the strategic directions that you're headed. And I think we understand how important tourism is to this community, and all the work that the CVB is doing is going to go not unnoticed. And that not-so-quiet group focused on the convention center will get a little louder as the months go on. Commissioner Mills, Tobin Bridge no longer accepts cash in Boston, so maybe there's a way to go in that direction. They're just taking some editorial opportunity right here. And finally, Councillor Susslick, good question. Well done. For Lynn, as a thank you for your participation, we will be making a donation in your honor today's Community Corner partner, Kiwanis. So thank you very much.